Awesome. So welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time out of your night to attend the webinar tonight. My name is Shay Collis and I am a Senior Community Development Officer for the Alcohol and Drug Foundation and the Good Sports Relationship Manager for Northern and Northwest Tasmania. So in tonight's webinar, we're going to give you a bit of an introduction into the Good Sports program and chat about some of the various programs that we have available under that and how we can work with clubs. Sorry, my computer just seems to have, there we go. So I will start off by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting on today. So in Tasmania, La Trahuita, and pay my respects to any elders past, present and emerging. Also pay my respects to any Aboriginal people who might be in the meeting tonight. So as I said, tonight we're going to be covering off on a few different things. So an overview of the Alcohol and Drug Foundation and what the Good Sports program is, some social media tips and resources, how you can support your members through mental health, and some different Good Sports online learning modules that we have available to clubs. So what is the Alcohol and Drug Foundation? So the Alcohol and Drug Foundation is Australia's leading prevention organisation in the alcohol and drug space. We're committed to preventing and minimising the harms associated with alcohol and other drugs. And we understand that strong communities are the best way to prevent future harms, and that's why we work closely with communities. So why is our work important? So each year in Australia, 5,500 people will die from alcohol-related injuries, illnesses and accidents. And as you can see, there are some other statistics on the screen here which can be very alarming and confronting. And I would just like to say that all of these statistics are preventable. And this is the reason that we think our work is so important, is because if we can come into communities and help you guys implement the right strategies and procedures, then these sorts of statistics here can be reduced and will be reduced. So Good Sports is one of the Alcohol and Drug Foundation's main programs, and we've been working in Good Sports for about 2 decades now. And being that we are Australia's largest and longest running health initiative in community sports. So Good Sports is a 3-level program aimed at creating healthier and more family-friendly environments with a focus on reducing risky drinking. Good Sports is a free program and designed for busy volunteer-led clubs. So you have a dedicated relationship manager, which in this case for all of the Circular Head clubs is myself, and I'm available to work with clubs to implement not only the Good Sports program, but also assist you to review policies and implement other procedures or activities within the club that relate to the Good Sports program. So in Tasmania, we have 488 Good Sports clubs currently accredited, and we offer 5 different programs to those clubs under the Good Sports banner. So we really do have a great reach across Tasmania. Nationally, we're approaching 10,000 clubs, which is really exciting, and we're hoping to reach that milestone this year. So just shows the amount of people that are engaged in the Good Sports program and just how relevant it is for communities, including small communities like the Circular Head region. The benefits of being a Good Sports club include making the club more family friendly, having a better profile when applying for grants and sponsorship, encouraging new members to come on board, making people more aware of their own personal behaviour and their role modelling, and helping you work through tricky paperwork. On top of these benefits, you also get dedicated relationship managers, online resources, policy templates, and different ideas for activities and programs to implement in clubs. So there's a range of different benefits to clubs for being engaged in the Good Sports program. So we did conduct a randomised controlled trial just to see the efficiency of Good Sports, and we found the benefits, according to our research, were that Good Sports clubs saw a 42% decrease in alcohol-related incidents and a 37% decrease in risky drinking activities in their clubs. So the data really does show that our programs are relevant and helpful for clubs. Now, as I said before, there are 5 programs available to clubs in Tasmania through Good Sports. The first of those being our alcohol program, Our alcohol program is a 3-step accreditation program which focuses on topics such as responsible alcohol consumption and RSA training, smoking management, risky drinking activity limitations, and safe transportation. Next program that we have available is under nutrition, so our Good Sports Healthy Eating program, and that program there focuses on topics such as food safety training, healthy canteen options, healthy fundraising activities, and complete menu and promotion overhauls. The next program that we touch on is mental health through our Good Sports Healthy Minds program. The Good Sports Healthy Minds program is aimed at reducing stigma associated with mental health in sporting clubs and promoting help-seeking activities to sporting clubs. Then we have Tackling Illegal Drugs, which covers the illegal drugs. Now, the Tackling Illegal Drugs program is about assisting clubs to implement a Tackling Illegal Drugs policy and being able to be educated enough to know how to respond to an illegal drugs incident should one occur in their club. So the Tackling Illegal Drugs program is not for clubs that have a drug problem specifically. We're not saying that you do. It's just saying to be educated and prepared should one occur within your club or at a function, then you can know how to respond to an incident there. The final program that we have available is our Good Sports Junior program. Now, the Good Sports Junior program is all about role modelling positive behaviours for juniors with a focus on removing alcohol and smoking and implementing spectator behaviour policies and some healthy eating aspects as well. So there's a range of different topics, as you can see, that we can work with clubs on in Tasmania. There is no one size fits all for clubs, and we do acknowledge that every club situation is different and not all clubs will suit every program. So engagement with Good Sports is based on the club's needs and the club's interests, and we will work with you on a range of either all of the programs or just 1 and 2, depending on what suits your club's situation. So during the COVID situation, obviously life is a little bit different, and you might be wondering how we can work with you throughout this time. So we just put this together to give you a bit of an insight. So there's a number of ways that we can work with clubs throughout this period right now. The first of those being organising phone or Zoom meetings with either a representative from the club or the whole club committee in general. In this here, we can talk through the Good Sports program, what activities might suit your club, what activities your club could be doing right now to engage with your members, and also how you can become accredited, which leads into the next step. We can support you guys to complete your Good Sports annual accreditations throughout this time right now as well. We can also assist clubs to review and implement their policies. So whether that be reviewing existing policies or implementing new policies with our templates, we can support you to do that throughout this time. And then the final point there is we can help you by providing electronic resources, whether those be education guides for committee members or social media posts, etc., that you can share on your social media channels. So now I'm going to play a bit of a video which just covers off some different clubs' experiences within the Good Sports program.
The role that the club plays in the community is it gives an opportunity for children to not only play sport, but they get to mix socially with other people. They get to learn life values, and I think it brings the community together. The wings just spread and it just keeps going. Yeah, so it's a domino effect.
To be a part of a Good Sports program is really important to us. We certainly are a family-friendly club, so people can recognise that we're an alcohol-free zone for the juniors. We are a smoke-free zone, and everything is in the best interest of our children and our players.
It gives the club a better profile when going for grants, but also just about improving the environment for the families. And by improving the environment for families, we encourage more members to come on board as well.
To me, it's about the culture of the club. It just makes people aware about healthy options, drinking in moderation, that type of thing, and then obviously stepping up the levels like we have. You got to also implement that, you can't just talk about it.
With the Good Sports program, they've helped us to look at our food options in our canteen and drinking of water. I'm a full-time working person and I don't have time to read all the policies and regulations, so it's good to have someone help you through the process.
I would recommend Good Sports to any sporting club if they want direction in their club, easy steps, procedures, awareness and lots of help and information available, which was wonderful.
My advice to other clubs is to definitely get involved, and you'll see improvements in your club and improvements as far as sponsors coming in and members participating in the club. So get involved and have a go.
So as you can see from that, there's a range of different clubs that have really enjoyed their engagement with Good Sports, and those sorts of experiences are experiences that your clubs could have as well by engaging with us. So that's all of the Good Sports overview. Hopefully that gave you a bit of an insight into the range of programs and the different things that we can do with you in that area. Now we're going to move on to social media and marketing your club. So the things we're going to cover in this section are why you should be using social media as a club, how you can get started with social media, different ways to plan your posts, and tips for growing your audience. So social media is a great way to share updates, facilitate conversations, and engage with your members and the communities. You can also be promoting activities, news and resources, get people to visit your website, and again, connect with your community. So there's a range of different reasons why social media is really beneficial for clubs to have. And as you can see here on the side, there's some examples of clubs and associations that are really using their social media to engage with their members and promote that positive messaging. So to get started with social media, there's a number of tips that we have in place. So the first thing that you should be doing is designating a person to manage the social media page. It's really great to have 1 or 2 people in charge of managing the page, because then you have some consistency. Often there's somebody in your club that is a little bit tech savvy, so usually if you can get them on board, that's a great way of having the social media page handled and not having to worry about the responsibility of who's going to take it on each week. So finding someone to manage the page is always a great first step. The second thing to consider is what sort of updates you're going to be sharing on your social media page. So you can be sharing things that in the current situation, like behind the scenes footage or photos of things that are going on in the club, flashbacks of things from the past that might have occurred in the club, whether you won the grand final 5 years ago, or you want people to share photos of their uniforms or tell funny stories, exercise tips for isolation, and then any online competitions or games that you might have that people can engage in. You can also share things in the future, like your season start date, any upcoming fixtures that you might have, and then when things are back to semi-normal, you might be able to share things like if you won a game or photos from game day, the best player, etc. The next thing is to consider what sort of language and tone you're using in your posts. So your social media page is an extension of your club, and it's important to consider what messaging you want to promote to the community and what sort of community perception you want to have. So for example, the Good Sports social media pages contain really positive and engaging content. So it's all about inclusivity and connection, etc. So there's no negative posts on our page, and that's the tone that we like to keep when sharing things. And then finally, you want to consider what format you're using when you're sharing posts. Are you sharing photos or videos or links? And also just keep in consideration that the attention span for people online is generally only about 7 seconds for a video. So posting really long content is probably not useful. So it's really great to just consider what sort of content you will be sharing and plan that in advance. Leading into planning your posts. So Good Sports do have a post planning tool, as you can see here, and we think that this is a great way of just thinking about planning a week ahead of what you're going to be posting on your social media channel. This will save you a lot of time when it comes to, say, Wednesday night and you're not sure what to share. If you've got something already planned, then you can jump on, you can share that on your page, and then you can move on with your night or day. If you're consistently looking for things to post, then it can take a lot more time and you might feel a lot more stressed when managing your social media page. So some things to consider when planning your posts. You don't always have to create your own content. So you can be planning to share content from others. Other pages might include your league or association social media page or newsletter, maybe your state or Australian sporting body. You can also share things from your council or local government, and then also other sporting organisations. Pages like Good Sports or Sports Community or even the Clearinghouse for Sports are really great pages that you can follow, and you can share that content directly onto your Facebook page to provide that messaging with your members. Then you can also create new content yourself, as I touched on before, current things and things in the future, or even flashbacks there. So just planning out what you want to be posting on your social media page can be a really great tool and a really great way of staying on top of things and making sure that your page is consistently active and engaging with your members. So to help you plan, at the moment we do acknowledge that a potential risk from COVID is increased harms associated with alcohol and drug misuse. So we have put together a promotional social media toolkit at Good Sports, which just promotes some really positive messages around alcohol to your members that you can use and share. As you can see here, there's some screenshots of different posts that we have, and these can easily be uploaded to your social media channels or placed in a newsletter or an email to share out to your members and just promote that safety messaging. A copy of this kit will be sent out to everyone post the webinar. So some other things that you can post on your social media channel include coaching video drills, online challenges, encouraging people to post their own in the comments or maybe in your group, polls and questions for your members to get them engaged with your page, member profiles or get to know me posts, online tournaments, flashbacks or your club's history, or online video catch-ups such as virtual trivia nights or virtual dinners, etc. There's a range of different things that you can post on your social media channel. So how do you grow your community? So it's really important to promote your social media page in every aspect. Things like promoting it when you're having events or game days, so just announcing that you do have a social media channel and encouraging everyone to jump on and like it. You can include it in your newsletter, you can link it on your website, and you can even send out an email or a text message notifying everybody about the page and to jump on and like that. You can ask people to share the page and invite their friends to like it as well. The second thing is to make sure you're regularly sharing content on your social media page. So this is a great way of just keeping people engaged with your page. If it's consistently appearing in their social media feeds, then they will be on, you'll be on their minds, and then you'll be really well engaged with them in that space. So encouraging them to comment as well on the post that you've got. Set aside 5 to 10 minutes a day to check and update your social media page. This is a really great way of just making sure that you're staying relevant, and reply to comments. So not only is it really important to be sharing things on your social media page, but also engaging in conversation with your members. So take 5 to 10 minutes to reply to comments on the page and make your members feel welcomed and encouraged and part of that sort of community. And then start conversations. So in your social media posts, you can be asking open-ended questions to encourage responses from your members. So it might be that you're sharing a new canteen menu. So you might say, this is our new menu, what's everybody's favourite addition? And then they can comment on there and say that the salad roll is their favourite option, or maybe the drinks, etc. Other questions that you can ask are things like, we would love to know what you like about our club. Please comment something in the comments that you like about our club. And that's asking people to share their responses. That's a really great way of starting the conversation and engaging your community with your club social media page. So what are some other clubs sharing at the moment from Tasmania? So we've taken a couple of screenshots of things that our Tasmanian Good Sports clubs are sharing that we think are really positive social media posts and really great ways of engaging with their members. So on the left over here, you can see South Hobart Football Club have shared a screenshot from a Zoom catch-up that they had with their younger players. So this is a really positive post. It shows that the club's still engaging with their junior members, that they're looking out for each other and catching up. In the middle here, Redpath Football Club, who are from Circular Head, of course, they've put a post up asking for people to share pictures and post photos in their club uniform, whether it be from the past or from current, etc. So that's a really great way of engaging with your members and just encouraging them to share what they like about the club and, you know, share the photos that they have there. And then on the right here, you can see Canterbury Hockey Club, and they're introducing some mental health and wellbeing officers that they've employed for the club. And that's a really great way of just showing that there are sharing the contact details so that they're there to support their members, and that they're caring about their mental health and promoting that messaging there. So they're 3 really great posts that we've come across in the past few weeks of what clubs are sharing on social media. So on the other hand, the consideration also is what you shouldn't be posting on your club's social media page. So again, your social media page is an extension of your club, and what messages are you promoting to your community? So it's your brand, and it's really important to consider what sort of messaging you're promoting and what the perception of your club is. So not only is your social media page available to everyone, but especially if you have junior teams, what sort of role modelling are you putting onto your juniors? And often, if you're applying for grants or sponsorship, your club's social media page will sometimes be audited, and that can also impact your success levels there with grants and sponsorship if you're posting negative content. So some examples of negative content could include videos of beer sculling or drinking games, things like having beer pong championships or tournaments or boat races, etc. Photos of underage members drinking, or even drinking inappropriately in front of underage members. So for example, a video of a team winning the game and then in their change rooms tipping beer over everyone with the kids standing underneath them, not necessarily positive. Humorous posts or inappropriate jokes about alcohol and drug consumption, or inappropriate jokes and memes. It's also really important to consider that it's not just what's posted on your page, but also what's commented on your page by your members. So it's really important to just monitor the comments that are on your page, because anything that's sort of associated with your page will come into your brand and affect the perception of the community on that. And you really want to consider to keep that positive there. So that's all that we have for the social media part of this presentation. And as I said before, a copy of our social media toolkit and our promotional toolkit will be sent to all those that have registered tonight. So the next topic that I'm going to touch on is mental health in your club. So I'll be running through a little bit of an introduction to mental health, how you can promote help seeking, some mental health themed social media posts that we have that you can share, as well as some mental health resources, where you can send your members for support, and encouraging you to stay connected with your members especially. So to start off, a definition. Mental health is defined by the World Health Organization as a state of well-being in which every individual realises his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. So I thought this was a really relevant and important definition to use tonight, because as you can understand, in the current circumstances with people either in isolation or having lost an income, etc., some of these points here, people might feel that they're not fulfilling, and it might really have a negative harm on them. So it's really important to consider that mental health is an important topic to talk about throughout this time, and to just acknowledge that everybody might be in a different situation and they might be facing things differently. So right now, I have some specific statistics. So the ABC conducted a study a couple of weeks ago, and they found some really negative things. So the number of Australians that are reporting poor mental health right now has more than doubled compared to that of a month ago. The number of Australians frequently feeling despair has more than tripled, and those frequently feeling confusion is up more than 5 times. So it's really important to consider if you're promoting positive mental health to your members, and how you might be encouraging them to stay connected and to reach the right supports where it's necessary. So how can you promote help seeking to your members? And there's a number of different ways of things that you guys can do right now to be promoting help seeking to your members through your social media page. So you can promote general mental health suggestions, such as the Good Sport social media messages and posters. You can publish support service contact information for your members that may require support and they might not know where to go for that support. You can share positive good news stories through your social media accounts. So at the moment, there is a lot of negative social media and news circulating, and it's really important to consider the opposite of that and to be promoting positive stories that you might come across that might sort of lighten the mood and keep members a bit more happy. And also encouraging your members to reach out to their other specific members, maybe their teammates or their mental health and wellbeing officers in the club, etc., if they're feeling isolated. So really encouraging that connection. So an example of one of our Good Sport social media posts is now on the screen. So as you can see, there's 2 different images that you can choose from. And we also have text that you can copy and paste throughout this. So we have 7 Good Sports mental health social media posts that you can share on your channels or put in your newsletters or even email out to your members. And they just contain a really positive social media message around mental health. So for example, this one here is about self-care and encouraging the members to look after themselves and take a moment for themselves to look after that. And there's just an image associated with that. So they're really simple and easy, and basically it takes no work from the club. You just have to upload it and copy and paste that. So it's a really easy way of promoting that mental health messaging. Some other Good Sports resources that we have available for clubs to share on their social media channel. One is just our general mental health support poster, and that there has some contact details for mental health providers that people can reach out to if they need support. And then on the right here, we have our Supporting Mental Health Conversations poster. So this poster was developed in conjunction with Speak Up, Stay Chatty, and it's basically a skeleton guide into how to have a simple conversation around mental health with a member or anyone that might be experiencing mental health challenge. So basically the 4 components of this poster. The first one is asks. So giving the person a chance to open up and talk about what might be going on for them, just asking the question to start that conversation. The second part of it is understanding. So asking open-ended questions to gain a further understanding into what might be going on in that person's situation or what might be affecting how they're feeling. Then refer. So there's a number of different places that you can refer a person to. It might be that they just need to sit on it and leave it for a week. They might want to speak to their GP if they're experiencing consistent symptoms of a mental illness. Maybe they want to talk to Help or Crisis Line or their parents, etc. And then the last step, which is really important, is checking in. So remembering that once you've had that conversation, it can be really important to check in again in a few days or maybe a week's time, just to check in and remind that person that you are there to support them and see if they might need any additional assistance or just to have another conversation again. So it's a really simple guide into how to have a conversation. It's not saying that you need to be a professional, and it's not saying that you need to have all of the answers or anything like that. It's just showing that you are there to support the person and to help them find the right place that they might need to go for that extra support. So where can you refer people to if they do need extra support? The first thing on the screen here is the Alcohol and Drug Foundation's drug info line. So the drug info line provides confidential, non-judgmental alcohol and other drug telephone and email information and referrals. The second number that we have on the screen is Beyond Blue. So Beyond Blue provides mental wellbeing and support services to all Australians. And then we have Lifeline, who have a 24-hour crisis support and suicide prevention service. They also have a texting service, which you can find on their social media page. There's then the Men's Line, which provides free help, support and referrals and counselling for men specifically. And at the bottom, we have Headspace's number, which provides information and support for young people, their parents and carers. So all of these information lines and support services are operating right now and are available for you to share those numbers with your members, and they can access them anytime. So staying connected with your members right now is really important, especially considering the statistics that I talked about just before. And here I've got a little screenshot that I took from the Beyond Blue social media page, which says, remember to reach out to your friends and colleagues who get it. You don't have to face these feelings alone. So this here again is an example of content from others that you might be able to share on your social media channel. I just found it on the Beyond Blue Facebook page, for example. And that there's just a message promoting that you should be staying connected with your club, you should be staying connected with your members, and you should be encouraging your members to stay connected with each other, especially throughout these times. So the final thing that I'm going to touch on is online modules that we have available for clubs through Good Sports program, and there's 2 of those. So each online module takes about 15 minutes to complete. It's completely free. There's no passwords to access it or anything like that, just 2 links. You can complete the online modules either individually, or you might like to sit down as a committee and complete the module together and discuss the different topics as they arise, or maybe you might like to encourage your coaches or your members to complete the modules themselves. The first module covers alcohol management through managing alcohol at your club, learning about the risks associated with alcohol consumption, and managing intoxicated people. The second module is our Tackling Illegal Drugs module, which covers what to do if there's a drug incident in your club, the different types of drugs that members may encounter, and the effects that drugs have on the brain and the body. So both of those modules are free, and we will include the links of those post forum so that you can access and have a look at them and distribute them should you wish. So we've discussed a lot of different things tonight, and you may be thinking, where do I go from here and what should my club do next? There's 4 really simple points that we've put up on the screen here that we think is a great starting point for clubs. So the first one being organising a meeting with your good sports relationship manager, so in this case myself. So it's a really great chance to just reach out and touch base with me, whether you've spoken to me about the club before, or maybe you haven't spoken to me at all and you want to engage, or even if you think you might know a club that isn't engaged with good sports and you think that they might be. So we can catch up and talk about where your club's at and where you're going with your accreditation and what extra support you might need or what resources you might need. The second step is to consider your social media approach. So have a look at your social media channel, have a look at the content that you're sharing, and think about whether or not you're sharing appropriate content, what content you might like to share in the future. Maybe go and like all of the social media pages of either your associations or Good Sports page or, you know, sports community or any of those pages so that you're prepared to share their content in the future. The third step, promote help seeking to your members. So you can either utilise the Good Sports Mental Health social media pages, or you can find any of the other social media pages like Beyond Blue or Lifeline and just promote that help seeking behaviour and encourage that connectedness with your members. And then the final step, complete a Good Sports online learning module. So as I said, they only take about 15 minutes and they're really simple and easy to navigate. That's a really great way of just getting an insight into those 2 topics and a little bit more education in that space. So thank you so much for sitting through that and listening. I will just unmute, give you guys the ability to unmute yourself if you wanted to ask any questions. Otherwise, please pop any questions in the chat box and I will endeavour to answer them now. My contact details are on the screen and also the contact details of my southern co-worker. So if you know any clubs that might be in the south that you think might like to register for Good Sports, then please feel free to take down his details and pass them on. So I'll just monitor the chat now if anybody has any questions, or feel free to unmute yourself and jump on.
Hey Shay, it's Deb.
Hi Deb, how are you going?
Very well. Thank you so much for tonight. That was really informative and great. I'm just wondering about the modules. So I'm just wondering how I, as a council officer, could undertake that. Would we join up as a member? How could I do that?
So you don't need to be registered to do the modules. So it's just an online link that you can take. So I'll send you the links to those if you like.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in doing that. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely, no worries. And that comes across with also sharing the links to the modules with your members. There's no password access or anything like that. It's just a web link they open straight away and they can complete it.
Terrific. Thanks, Shay.
It's okay. Was there any other questions or anything like that that anybody had? Feel free to either comment or pop them in the chat box.
I just think this is a great opportunity to link together too. Well done with this, providing the webinar. Really good.
Thank you. And also if anybody wants to share how they might have been engaging with their members or anything like that as well, it is specifically clubs from Circular Head in here, or maybe if you had any questions from Deb for a council perspective or anything like that as well, feel free to just have a bit of a chat about it. Awesome. I'll take that meaning that I've covered everything and you're all feeling very satisfied then. So thank you again for coming along tonight and taking the time out of your night. For everybody that has registered, I will be sending you guys a follow-up just containing all of the resources and the links to the modules, etc. If you didn't register or you don't think that I have your email address, feel free to pop that in the chat and I'll add you to the post email. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me anytime. I will be following up with everyone as well. So thank you so much and have a great night.
Thanks again. Bye.